Hi everyone. Something's been on my mind lately. I cannot sleep because of it. Um, Probably also because I fell asleep as soon as I got home from work today. Anyway, something has been bothering me a lot lately. And I am seeing a lot about protests to end the lockdown for COVID-19. And it everything is very similar to the 1918 pandemic for the Spanish flu. Um, the Spanish flu had much like symptoms, kind of like the COVID-19 respiratory. Um, People cough, sneeze. It was transmitted by air. So basically, all the last few pandemics have been airborne. But this pandemic has, not the current one, but the Spanish flu has affected like a third of the world. Um, and it was like 675,000 Americans back then were deceased by the time that the pandemic was over. And what I'm seeing here is that, according to the History Network that I'm using, history.com, the lockdowns for the pandemic then was ended prematurely when they thought that they hit the peak of the Spanish flu and they weren't seeing any more cases. Um, Much like what's happening with COVID right now. But people are still getting affected with COVID. I don't understand why people are demanding to, be out of lockdown when all the states have implemented stay-at-home orders just a couple of weeks ago, or just finished it a couple of weeks ago, actually. We haven't really been on full lockdown in every state, besides, essential workers and grocery stores, but for a couple of weeks. It's shown me that a lot of people has anxiety, yes. They do need money for their bills, yes. I've noticed that a lot of companies, though, are giving you at least 60 days to pay, especially since we got our stimulus checks. And I know a lot of people still haven't, probably because they've been garnished for some reason, like, I don't know, unpaid child support, or some states are allowing them to be garnished for student loans, things like that. And my biggest thing is life for money. How many families out there have actually been affected by COVID-19? I've seen, well, with a lot of videos being readily available than what they were in 1918, obviously. People are documenting of what's going on, and I've been seeing videos of people showing kids, parents, grandparents being affected by COVID-19 because of pre-existing conditions. And what I've seen is that the coronavirus has taken a lot of energy from people and they cannot move out of their beds. Much like, I guess, how cancer would if you are on chemo or if you're not taking chemo. I don't know exactly how that works. I would not know. So I'm not really comparing COVID-19 to cancer. Don't come at me. And this is no joke. I've seen every time I go out to get essentials for my family because, well, one, I'm an essential worker. I mean, I'm out anyways. And two, there's a newborn baby at the house, and nobody here is going to leave and get stuff for the family. So I'm the only one that's able to go out and get stuff right after I get off work. So I, get stuff. But I use my mask and gloves like I'm supposed to, but when I'm out, I don't see a lot of people wearing masks and gloves because, one, they're all gone, or two, some people just really don't care. And my biggest fear is with the lockdown being loosened a little in some of these states is that we are going to see a second wave like South Korea. And the biggest thing in South Korea is it's not just new cases that they're seeing. They are seeing returning COVID-19 victims. People that have recovered from COVID-19 is getting it again. And I've never heard such a thing. But it's exactly what happened with the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu, the lockdown started in 1918. And as I've said earlier, at one point they hit the peak where they didn't really see many more cases, and they thought that they were going to be okay. They thought that they could reopen the country, rebuild the economy, good things, happy times, but mourn the losses of family members. And after they reopened, a whole new wave of cases came in. A whole new wave. And this thing was bad until, 1919 or 1920. So quarantine lasted for about maybe a year and a half back then. I just don't want to see that happen again. I just feel like that if a lot of people had listened in the first place and find something to take care of your boredom, find some kind of medication for your depression or anxiety, like I have. I mean, I'm not trying to be selfish here or anything, but if you know that you have what people call these things as mental illnesses, you need to learn how to cope with that while you're at home for quarantine. It sucks. It really does. You can't go see the people that you want to see. Trust me. I hate it just as much as the rest of you guys, but probably like the rest of y'all, or most of y'all, I have a family that I need to think about. Like I said, I have a newborn here at home. I don't want to risk getting that baby sick. I really don't. Like, he was born just, just days before this lockdown came into place. Not mine, but I'm living in the house with a newborn, and I just can't imagine him getting sick and dying of COVID-19. Like, there was a case in, I believe it was South Carolina, but I'm not 100% sure, that a 5-week-old child died because of the virus. Basically, what I'm afraid of is if people go to these beaches and whatnot, they're still not going to protect themselves. Like, people are asking for the freedom to do what they want, But I'm worried that those that are asking for the freedom to do what they want really has no regards for other people's lives with compromised immune systems and whatnot. And I get it. You have bills that you need to pay. I've read that Donald Trump was considering $2,000 guaranteed a month for 6 months to keep money coming in for bills. And I've just been reading that people are sending death threats to their governors and like having protests with armed weapons to demand for these lockdowns to be lifted. I just don't want this thing to, be a premature lockdown lift and for things to take the turn for the worst like it did in 1918. It would break my heart to see that we could have all just listened, stayed home, the essential workers go to work, people that need money are getting their money from the government like they said that they would, and we all just find ways to keep ourselves somewhat entertained, keep in touch with those that we are being kept apart from. I get it. Hard. I get it. But safety is more important right now. And I would hate to see somebody that I'm close to pass away. There's a few people outside of my family that I'm close to that has pre-existing conditions, and I don't want to I would hate to see them go. And I'm sure a lot of you have people like that too. Then again, I'm just a worrier. So, don't mind my rant. Oh, I'm look like I'm about to cry. Oh my god. Ugh. I don't need to cry. If you guys do decide to go out after the states loosen their lockdowns, just protect yourselves. Even if you have to makeshift gloves, like, I don't know, crochet some gloves or something, just be careful. Rubber gloves are not the only kind of gloves that we have. And masks. You can make masks too out of anything. Just some thicker fabric and have a filter in between the fabric, and I'm just an emotional person. I hate to see that so many of us might be gone by the end of the year when this year had just started. So, if you don't want a year-long lockdown, I urge a lot of you guys to think these protests through, to think your demands through, and really evaluate if you have to have money right now or if you can wait for the government to try to figure out how to keep our bills going. Because if they've already taken care of us once, I'm pretty sure that they're going to try to keep doing it. Because, again, with the reports that I've seen, Trump wants to keep up with Canada. Canada is giving their citizens about $8,000 worth of stuff, I think, and of money. And if we're reported to have about $2,000 guaranteed for 6 months, for at least those that are getting less than $75,000 a year from their jobs, I'd say that would be pretty good. And, again, those that are struggling with their mental state, anxiety, depression, ADHD, things like that, just take what you know, calms you down, and see if that will help during this time. If not, explore and see what helps. For me, to calm down my anxiety, it's my vaping. To calm down my depression, that would be my self-medication. Not weed. Not weed, if anybody's thinking that. More like melatonin, stuff like that. And for my depression, well, the depression's the self-medication, but for my ADHD, I picked up some card games and a coloring book. And I have my computer, I have a TV, I have my phone. I mean, sure, technology allows everything to be at our fingertips, but I know a lot of people get bored of that so easily too now. It's just a matter of finding something new. And everybody's going to be okay. If everybody would just relax, calm down. I know that's a lot for me to say. Because I know that might irritate some people. Because a lot of you guys have kids and they go crazy, and I don't have kids, so I wouldn't know. But just think about the demands that a lot of you guys are making. Is it worth going outside and risking your family's health right now? Especially with the situation looking just like how it did with the Spanish flu of 1918. If you guys really have to look it up and don't understand everything that I'm saying about it, look it up. Well, that's helped me a little bit to get my frustration out and possibly help me sleep. But that's about everything that I have on my mind for this right now. Just, everybody please be careful. Much love.